If you've been watching our boosted series, it is no front page news that we do not know how to TIG weld. At all.
I'm throwing this away.
Oh, yeah. The nice part is that's the bottom.
Aluminum is so much harder to weld than anything else.
We've got Caleb's Jeep leaving my garage finally after 6 months, headed down to our wizard friend. And he's gonna help us get all of the TIG welding we need to get done on Caleb's Jeep. We push his Jeep up on the trailer and it's ready to go.
We are down here at our buddy Bentley's shop. He's taken a ton of time out of his week to help us get this thing done. This is what we've got so far. We've got all of the stainless for the turbo pedestals all welded together. The headers are welded together. All of the cold side intercooler tubing is all welded together. The hood's cut for the turbos to come through. And the top of the intercooler's chopped off. Now that we've got all of that out of the way, I'm gonna start making a shroud for the front of this radiator. And once I get that thing done, you'll understand why that has to come first.
For these guys to keep cranking on this Jeep, getting it done as quick as we can, I'm gonna go do some of the stuff Bentley has to do so he can just focus on the Jeep. And what he's having me do, you guys aren't gonna believe it. Today, Bentley has me working on a really, really expensive car. And I don't know why he thinks I'm capable of this. I've got to do some front end wiring, and then I'm gonna wash it, put the battery in it, we're gonna start it, it's gonna be sick, but I'm not gonna let you guys know what it is until we've got it cleaned and washed. See if you can guess what car it is. I haven't given you much. You got a wheel there, and you've got this spot. So leave in the comment what you think this car is. You're probably wrong, but if you're right, I'm gonna be really impressed. We're putting a connector between these and those, soldering these back together just so we can move the car around so it starts. So we're gonna get to that. All right, I just finished wiring up the connector. I'm gonna plug it in, see if any of the pins push out. I hope they don't because I pull tested everyone, they feel good, so let's plug it in. Wiring's done. This is temporary just so we can start and move it. We just got to get the right connector here because these are bigger, but we're going to zip tile this up and let's see if this car starts after probably 5+ years.
Is there a fancy start button somewhere that I'm missing?
On the steering wheel there, buddy.
Hey, it's a Ferrari.
A real Ferrari! Oh my gosh! Honestly, dude, this thing is nuts.
We got the Ferrari running. Gave it a quick little spray down. We didn't really wash it that good, so we just wanted to get all the dust off it. And we're gonna pull it back in the shop. So, first time driving a Ferrari.
And probably your last, too.
Oh, absolutely my last.
All right, enough fun and games. We need to get back to work on a real work of art.
Hey pal, you just blowing from Stupid Town?
Oh, this thing is sick.
How much does this thing cost again? It's like 500 grand.
Oh, I think it's like 3.
No, I'm pretty sure it's like 400 or 500 grand.
It's between 3 and 5. It is the 430 Scuderia, which I guess is like their top dog model.
We're not car guys at all, obviously.
No, I have no idea what that means, but I guess it's the SF right there, Scuderia Ferrari.
Watch this. Tack it.
We know how to hit stuff with hammers.
Yeah, buddy.
We might be good at that, huh?
I don't know why I said watch this like I was about to do a backflip. Watch this. Grab that hammer. Check it out, dude.
I am so pumped about this shroud.
Do the same thing on the corner there.
What does that do?
So there's light behind here. When I look through, I can see the radiator a little bit, right? So that means that the top here, due to the bending process, whatever, this side was a little bit longer, so it ribbons out a little bit. Just tacking above it and below it secures it enough to where, and especially with a little bit of heat in it, now it'll form right into the corner, and you can cheat those corners into like razor thin.
Write that down, write that down!
And that's wizard stuff.
Yeah, that's wizard stuff right there.
All right, what's the argument here?
Okay, we submit to the courts. Gasket versus no gasket.
So Caleb is wanting to he wants to weld
All the way
those
along
two.
here.
Because I'm sick and tired of every Jeep that I have has the worst exhaust leaks ever. And it sits in ticks. Yeah. and
Oh, I agree,
everything
it's
nasty. I hate it.
Everybody's experienced it.
So why don't we just weld these puppies up and then we don't have to worry about it?
Now Bentley, take him to school on
Here's our
why.
arguments, Your Honor. Submit to the court for your discussion. As soon as that header is welded to this, if there's any revamping that needs to get done, this goose has been thoroughly cooked. So we would have to buy new headers or modify new headers and start all over. If we don't hit it out of the park, grand slam first time on your first twin turbos application.
What are you saying?
Which we know.
I'm not trying to jinx him, I'm just saying.
It's a good argument there.
Mistakes have been known to be made in my court, so I'm assuming your court is the same.
It is the same.
So, if you need to adjust something, this is now permanently affixed, so we're gonna have to cut here and twist the tube or change the tube or whatever, but this is now a part of that fixture. If the weld comes all the way around the outside, that doesn't protect exhaust from coming out of the bolts. So we're gonna have to shear off, make studs and stud weld inside the bolts.
Didn't think of that now, did you?
Because the bolts are inside of that weld seam. So we got to plug that balloon, and that's 3 more knots that we got to tie in our balloon to carry the metaphor through. But it could go either way. I think that we could very easily find a gasket setup that works for you. It's 3 bolts that are really accessible.
Okay, I got one last
Strike
thing.
that from the record.
What?
Oh, I gotta think of it. Hold on. If we do this with a good gasket set, maybe try 2 or 3 if they're not working, you can always go back and weld it later. You can't cut it off.
Says who?
Because we gotta plug weld those
That's a good
holes.
closing argument. I'm not saying you're on the back foot, but you're
That's a pretty...
in trouble.
Guilty as charged.
That's true. I mean, we could always
We can
go
do it
back
later.
and weld them.
You can't unweld it.
But I honestly think, like, if you can find you're paranoid about gaskets because you've driven everything from garbage up to this masterpiece, right? So your past is haunted by gaskets and ticking stuff and like
Derby
you gotta
car.
think
Yeah,
about the
the
cars
derby
that were
cars
ticking
now.
at you. Yeah, derby
Yeah.
cars. So you got to get this is more of a masterpiece, and you've got way less factors at play. I think that one spot is not going to be a problem.
Alright, whatever.
Don't fix it if it ain't
Alex, we
broke.
won!
We got it. Let's go.
I love V-bands.
It makes it so nice.
They're just so quick and easy.
As opposed to what would that be if it wasn't V-band?
If it wasn't V-band, it'd probably be a T4 turbo flange.
Which is pretty much just a flat plate with bolts.
Yeah.
Kind of like the coupler.
They're pretty good too, but like there's just nothing as simple as V-band. And it's like it's really nice like to mock up this whole thing and build the turbo system V-band style. Like if this turbo needed to sit there, like you can mount it and swivel this thing, tighten this V-band up, and get it right where you want it, as opposed to like after you weld it, that's where it's gonna stay and there's nothing you can do about it.
Dude, we could have never done this at home.
Oh, dude, this right here is a different stainless than this is. This is cast and this is 304. And to weld those together, you basically need to be a genie. That's as simple as that. Basically, if I would have welded that, it would have cracked in like 9 places by now.
Oh, 9 at minimum.
Yeah, 9 at minimum.
That's just gorgeous. Like, this looks like it's some sort of race car. And
It almost,
I gotta remind myself, it's just your Jeep.
yeah, it's complete goose Jeep. Yeah, like it's.
He's laughing over there. So the reason why there's actually a little bend on this is because if you took like a pipe, think of a pipe with water, and think of a T, all of the water is rushing this way, and with a T, it's gonna hit that, and some of it's gonna bleed in, but it's gonna still wanna go this way, to where, as if there was a slight Y, when the water comes here, it's gonna wanna split off, so there's gonna be a better balance of, I guess, you know, your water going separate ways. So with this, we want that exhaust to get split in half, so there's pressure going this way, so that when we tell the boost to escape, it's not still going to make boost through this, it's going to want to just escape through here, and it'll only build boost when we want it to. So we just want to split that air as good as we can. If it was just a T, it could still work, it just wouldn't work as well as we need it to.
And that was 10 times harder than just welding a normal T on it. It was brutal.
But it looks cooler.
It looks way
It'll work
cooler.
better. And we got to spend more time with our wizard friend Bentley.
Exactly.
We blasted the inside. Looky here. So, super shiny, super pretty, right? But look on the back side here. So this top layer that you're seeing kind of bubbly, that's the penetration we're seeing coming through the other side from the arc. So now we don't have to weld this side. We just knock that down with a sander and you're all good. With this thin of metal, the least amount of welding you can do, better. So even without hammering, I still haven't flattened it yet. And she sits, I mean, I should have tested that before we threw it on because I didn't know if it was going to fit like that, but it worked out.
So you don't even have to weld this top side for it to look like one piece.
No, it'll look totally flat and perfect.
Wow, boys, that is beautiful. That turned out
I'm
sweet.
now the guy with the radiator shroud. Never had that before. And I've always heard how much it helps. And now I'm that guy.
Now you'll know.
You're not that guy.
You're not that guy, pal. Trust me. You're not that guy.
I'm that guy.
Bentley's gonna tack this sucker together, and we're gonna call it a night.
Fanny pack zipped, strong, gloves, glasses. He's getting good, folks. Look at the fitment on that. I didn't have nothing to do with that. That's beautiful.
If you didn't have anything to do with that, that's luck.
Yeah, that's exactly what it was.
Back in Idaho, we call Caleb Phil because he's always filling gaps.
That's the way we learn. That's the way we learn.
All right, it's a new day. We've got intercooler stuff happening, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you guys are trying to get square back to circle,
Precisely.
correct?
Yeah, no big deal.
Should be easy.
It looks, as hard as it does look, it's harder than it even looks. And this looks hard.
Honestly, you get your top, your bottom plates, then you just fill in the gaps and then don't quit. And I think that it works usually.
The don't quit is the hardest part about that.
Just be stubborn.
So they're just marking where it's gonna go, take the whole intercooler out on the bench, and weld it all up.
That's it. Simple as that.
Thing is wild looking.
This thing's looking pretty complicated. Do we want to ground it?
We sure do, Caleb. I was testing and you passed.
That's our first step. Well, I guess it's not even close to our first, but that's a big step in concrete.
Big step.
Big step.
Yeah, to be able to get it close and then start coming from the opposite side. Now you can see like both ends of the cow. You just can't see the meat in the middle yet.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
I haven't heard that one.
She's in good shape.
Mm-hmm.
We just haven't seen how big them hams are gonna boil. You know. Don't ask me. Please
Hands are
edit that
gonna
out of me.
So now you know where the metal needs to go.
The biggest question is how it's gonna get there.
Lots of hammering. So we'll just bridge that gap and then start.
Bridge that, make a piece that goes in here,
Yeah.
to like there, and then make.
I think we'll start the shape up here.
Okay.
Start to curl it.
Look at that.
It's starting to take some shape, dude.
I mean, I didn't know how that was gonna come together.
I'm curious to see the finished product still, but it's going freaking a lot better than I thought it was going to.
That is so cool. So now all he's got to do is patch this in with a little cone, and it's done.
Mm-hmm.
That's crazy. It's the next day, and I just showed up, and Caleb and Bentley got the intercooler adapter all done, welded up, and finished. It looks so cool. Like, I can't even believe it. You've never seen anything like this. It's completely custom. Let me show you.
Baby girl love my bop and unlike me too. No roof on my top and my babe see-through. Hating on the pen, don't stop, they ain't gon' feed you. I've been all on my grind, so why I need you.
It was so hard, but like the situation forced us into doing this style of intercooler. And then we had the hood right here, so we couldn't just pop it up with the silicone tube. It had to be like low profile. And then turning like rectangle into circle. Literally this thing took us 2 solid days, and there's a reason. So if I roll and ruin this thing, I'm probably gonna puke all over the Jeep.
So you had to do this because the intercooler had to be in front of the radiator.
Yep, has to
And
be
so,
in front.
and he's got 2 turbos, so one turbo has to hook in here. The other turbo hooks in here, and then they combine, cool off, and go into one into the throttle body. And this was the best way to do that without completely, pretty much not being able to run a hood.
Yeah.
So
I mean,
they kept it low profile, kept it under the hood. I mean, this is
we're
crazy.
still going to have to just trim the hood just a little bit, but it will just kind of come up and be like a vent. The only reason we were able to do this was because of Bentley's help. This is so out of our league to build this kind of thing and weld this kind of thing that will hold pressure. I just literally cannot thank Bentley enough.
So what are you working on now?
Dude, this is the last thing we've got to do, and once this thing's done, we can get this Jeep out of Bentley's hair and back up to Brady's garage. I had to build this thing because those turbos sit so close to the motor. This is gonna act like a heat shield and protect that plastic manifold from getting too hot and melting or fatiguing. So I've literally got to weld 2 of these little triangles on, and this thing is pretty much at least as far as we can get it down here. And I've got to route the rest of the exhaust before I can finish the back. Guys, our Desert Wheelin' shirt just hit the website this morning. This is our newest design, and honestly, it's my favorite shirt we've made yet. Every Desert Wheelin' shirt comes with a Peck Brothers guarantee. If you're not 5 times cooler after you put it on, your money back, and we'll pay return shipping. This shirt is a ding. If you want one, jump on peckbrothersoffroad.com. The link to our website is in the description. Well, after a straight week of working on this thing, she is finally done enough to head back home. I was trying to get all of this stuff done as fast as I could so I could get out of Bentley's hair, so I was terrible with filming. And when we get home, I'll show you some cool shots of all of this stuff and more about how it works. I truly couldn't have done this without Bentley. He devoted a solid week of his time to help us get this Jeep done. If you've got an Instagram, jump on it and go check out @Bentley Garner and check out some of the crazy metal fabrication this guy does. He's a professional welder here in the Salt Lake Valley, and if you've got some crazy work that you need done, hit us up and we'll get you in touch with him. He's the best in the business. Thank you again, Bentley, for all of the help and all of the work that you've done to this Jeep. It means the world to me. We're gonna get this thing loaded up and head back to Idaho in 3, 2, 1.
We're finally back in Idaho. We got KG back in the garage. I got mine completely tore apart. And to go even farther than that, we're tearing apart the whole motor today. We got this motor from Utah Pick Apart. Me and Caleb took a whole day, tore 2 of these things out of their junkyard. Thing underneath is done.
Oh yeah.
Unbolted.
Oh yeah. Horrible.
Come on.
Absolutely horrible.
Come on.
Find a 2-wheel drive if you're ever gonna do that.
I've had it. Caleb already got his rebuilt. This is the first time I'm gonna tear into this thing. We're gonna go through the heads, we're gonna hone the block, we're gonna put a ring gap in it for boost, we're gonna replace any bearings that need to be replaced, and hopefully everything looks good. It ran when we took it apart, but we're gonna see how everything is in this motor. So I'm gonna take it apart and we're gonna get it down to the machine shop so we can put it together, put it back in the Jeep for final assembly. I haven't even drained the oil out of this yet, so we're gonna see how good this looks. Oh yeah, it's pretty good. It's not like insanely black.
What color is it?
It's like oil brown.
Alright, here's the moment of truth.
Time to pull the heads off and see if these cylinders are usable. I've been planning on using this motor, but this could tell us if we gotta go get another one.
Pull it off. Let's see it. Ooh. Dude, those look good. There's no like digs or anything. It's just kind of covered in that carbon junk.
There's no...
She needs some sea foam.
The head gasket looks good too.
Yeah, it does.
That's what I
Dude.
like to see.
The pistons are a little dirty, but hey. There's no scarring on those cylinders. I don't know if you can see that on camera here.
Boost will clean that right off.
Oh yeah.
You can still see the cross hatching. This truck had 198,000 miles. We drove it and it ran good. We saw the odometer and you can still see the cross hatchings in these cylinders, which means this motor was probably taken care of, and GM builds a really good motor.
They build a killer motor.
That is crazy.
Well, let's not speak too soon. Let's get that other side off really quick. All right. What do we got?
Oh, dude, we're gold.
We're gold. Gold.
Just a whole bunch of carbon buildup.
That's all right, though. That's textbook. We're cherry.
Half of me don't even want to rebuild it.
What do you mean half? I know all of you don't want to rebuild it, but you're rebuilding it.
That is just so good to see. Holy cow.
Oh.
I guess there's a chance that the cylinders have warped or moved or egged out and it needs to be bored.
The thing is, though, with it being this far tore down, it's worth doing all, the couple of things to it.
I've already bought all the stuff too.
We're expecting a crisp 700 plus out of this motor. We better give it some love.
She came with 3.5 from the factory.
Mm-hmm. We're doubling that.
Wow, I'm stoked. So I finished taking the rest of the motor apart. I put all the crap in the back of my truck, brought it down to the machine shop. And he said he's going to call me in the next couple days to tell me if it's any good. Because, to be honest, I don't really know what I'm looking at. I don't know if...
We lucked out on my motor, though.
Yeah, yours turned out...
Mine was fine. He just ball honed the cylinders, threw new bearings in it, so... We might go 2 for 2 on this. Alex might be finding a new motor. I told you guys that I'd show you what the engine bay looks like with everything all done up and the cover on. It turned out better than I could have ever dreamed. Guys, this video was a tough one. I was in Salt Lake for a straight week, like 7 days, working on my Jeep. Trying to get this thing edited with the 4th of July and everything that we had going on, we weren't able to get it out last Sunday. So hopefully this video gives you your Peck Brothers fix for the week. I promise you we aren't going anywhere. We will be back next week. Thank you so much for watching. Yeah, you ready? I think so. These look good. Dude! Oh my gosh. You didn't build that!